Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?
Good morning, Nigeria. You're tuned in to your favorite youth-powered breakfast show, a space where vibrant minds unpack everything from politics to governance, social realities, tech innovations, and the everyday issues that shape our future. Today, we're going to spotlight the importance of values, and we'll be asking the critical question of whose responsibility it is. Of course, we'll be having this conversation with an insightful guest, one who is at the forefront of societal impact. I'm your anchor for today. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenka, and as always, I'm excited to share the table with none other than God's beauty herself. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm quite tired. I think this week really stretched me beyond. And it's not like physical stress
Mentally.
or stretch. Yeah, mentally. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking for how I can come back to my vibrant self, because I feel like I've not been my vibrant self as much. But I'm glad that, the active part of the week in that sense is coming to an end. And I hope next week comes with, something better. But how are you feeling this morning?
Same as you are, to be honest. Yeah, I'm mentally tired, physically tired as well. Yeah, I need to sleep. I feel like in the past few weeks, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I've had, I think in a space of 2 weeks, I've had to write, up to 3 different story scripts, and it's a lot for me. Yesterday, I worked on one. I sent it to the client. The guy told me what exactly he wanted. But I think that sexual part of me always comes to play whenever I'm writing certain relationship stories. So I finished writing and I sent to him, and he said, "This is beautiful, but it's so sexual." I'm like, wow. So I have to reconstruct it again. I'm just thinking back of my head because the deadline is today, so I don't know what to do exactly, but I know for sure that I somehow have to take some words, some dialogue in the
Another
script.
thing that has been very tasking for me this week has to be the weather. The weather is really, really not funny. Anyways, this is 4th of July. 4th of July is a day when the United States of America, I'm sure you're supposed to even be at the front line of it, as per the citizen of Nigeria. It's not the
I don't understand.
I just thought that, today is the Independence Day for the United States of America, and there are 249 years post-independence. So I remember in government, when I used to study government, in secondary school, our teacher always tells us that stop being too critical of your country. There were just barely 50-something there. That if you see other countries, they're over 200 post-independence, and so they've had time to unlearn, face what we're facing now, that things can get better. And looking at the age, let me use that word, that these people are clocking, that shows
249.
It's a very, very massive one. And congratulations to them, and let's hope that Nigeria also gets to be on that A-list country list.
We will get there.
We'll definitely get there. All right, thank you so much to our viewers for joining us this beautiful Friday morning. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll look through the headlines this morning, and of course, head on straight to our hot topic for today. You don't want to miss any segment that we have today, so please stay locked in, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much for sticking with us. What are your thoughts on these historical milestones? I'd love to hear your insight and perspectives. Remember, you're the main ingredient in all of our conversation, and we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 070250077749 or 07014242420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your GoTV, and don't miss out on all of our premium content. Let's head on now to the newspaper review for this morning. We have the international papers, The Guardian and The Punch. So let's start with God's Beauty.
All right, straight into the South China Morning Post newspaper. By the top left, we have the lawmakers slam same-sex push. And at the top center, we have the pool of new attractions. Top right, treats Beijing as a partner. Main headline, we have a sign of rock-solid national security. Bottom section, which is the last headline on the newspaper, has plan to update prison visiting rules to better safeguard national security. So the two headlines I'll be taking on. All the headlines, honestly, are actually very amazing. Yeah, if I'm being honest. But then they're just two headlines that I think I want to expatiate on. Now, the first one is lawmakers slam same-sex push. Now, Hong Kong lawmakers are criticizing the recent push to recognize same-sex relationship. Now, some legislators argue that such recognition could undermine traditional family values and societal norms. This reflects the ongoing tension between conservative and progressive viewpoints in Hong Kong's political landscape regarding LGBTQ+ rights. So honestly speaking, I think this is something that we have always talked about. I mean, we've seen, Trump stands on it, Nigeria stands on it, and so many other countries. But it's quite amazing how the Hong Kong lawmakers are criticizing the recent push, to recognize same-sex relationship. And I think it's quite, do I say amazing now? Because if you, like I said, if you look at other countries, some are, of course, in agreement to it. Some are, of course, not in agreement to it. But then, before I let Oluchi tell me what she thinks about, this recent push, I also wanted to talk about this other headline that says, treat Beijing as a partner. Now, this headline says, Chinese diplomat has urged the European Union to view China as a partner rather than a rival. Now, he emphasized the need for mutual understanding and cooperation, especially on global issues. Now, this statement comes amid strained China and European Union relations over trade, technology, and human rights concerns. Now, you see one thing about, this relationship between one country to another is that it doesn't just help the leaders, because I think most of the times when we even see it in the newspaper, it makes it look like, it's just, the issue is just, concerning, or it's just because of the, the leaders or the people ruling, the countries. I think it's actually more than that. It's actually down to, the citizens of the country. Because trust me, if we have, President Tinubu, for example, make the wrong move or have an issue with a certain country, it's not just him that would bear the brunt of whatever comes out of it. It's us as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? So imagine, you see how almost everything down to toothpick is being, imported here into Nigeria. Imagine when, President Tinubu now has an issue with one of the countries. How exactly do you want us to be able to feed? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. How are we going to get some of those things that actually even make, that's some people's business, that's where some people make their money off. So how exactly would they cope? Given, again, the kind of, economic situation we are in right now. So I feel like, they should just come to a truce. I mean, first off, the fact that they don't even have an issue, I think that's something you would always take from China. They don't want to have an issue with any country. The least they want to do is to be honest. I mean, from the newspapers, yeah, that's what they show us. That's what it looks like. Do you understand? It's not even the European Union or anybody from the European Union that's calling for this now. It's the China people themselves that is saying that, Oga, please see us as a partner and not as enemies, because we are not enemies. And I mean, imagine that. And like I said, when it comes to all of this issue, it's not just the leaders that, that's going to face the brunt of, whatever comes out of it. It's the citizens themselves. And I like the move that, the Chinese president, even every other person in the authority state, that is all, what they are always doing. They're always ensuring that they are in good relationship with every country. And I love it, really. Yes, I feel like that's something that we also see here here in Nigeria. So that's a beautiful one.
Honestly, you've really mentioned something that is very critical. International relations, or how you can't say people's skill now because it's beyond one person. It's about countries at this point, and we need to work in unity. And that's why we even have bodies like the European Union, the United Nations, you know, ECOWAS. All these organizations is to help us even ensure that different countries have that seamless harmony, you know, so that everybody can, you know, effectively gain from one another without having to. But every time I think about this too, I cannot take away the fact that human elements will always play out, in the sense of you want to be territorial, you want to dominate, you want to be first before the rest. So there's always that silent competition that is never spoken of.
Yeah.
So many times it causes some of these hitches and everything. But I mean, great work there from, you know, the Chinese government, and I hope that it comes to fruition. The newspaper for the Nigerian space today is already making my tongue roll because it's a continuation of what we discussed yesterday, but this time around there's further context to it. So let me go ahead to let you in on what's happening in the Nigerian space. 2027 showdown again. Coalition slams Tinubu as Wike ADC trade blows. Presidency brands ADC leaders serial election losers. FCT ministers attack Mark. Others coalition kicks. Tribute as Eagles legend Rufai dies at 61. Capital projects got only 20% of 25 trillion naira 2024 spending. Okay, and that's all the story that the Punch highlights on. Okay, there's one more here. Says ECOWAS Bank approves $100 million for Lagos Calabar Highway. Now let's talk about this whole coalition story. I told you that there's more context to it. Firstly, what I saw yesterday was that the Labour Party had given Peter Obi a 48-hour ultimatum to resign from the party. So
wait, so he has not resigned and he's in another party?
He had not resigned. Now, this is what is really frustrating in the whole story. I would say frustrating because it's terrible when we're started to pick leaders from a house that is very disorderly. So firstly, I mean, some of the spokesmen in Labour Party came out to say that it was totally out of place for Obi to have, you know, gone for this whole coalition stuff with the ADC, to even be present there. And they were even speaking against the whole idea of what the ADC are trying to do. The way they painted it, I think one of the letters I wrote was that these are just desperate men trying to come back into power.
And they themselves are not desperate.
You know how people we are now.
Of
desperate
course.
men trying to come back into power, and that there's really no great intention, politically speaking, now. The funniest part of the whole story is that another spokesperson, I think Senator Nenadi Usman, came out to say that the Labour Party actually gave Peter Obi the permission to attend this ADC reunion. Let me use the word reunion that they had at this point. So I'm like, why would a house expected to produce a candidate that should maybe lead us in 2027 have this form of disorderliness? It already says a whole lot of things, and I'm hoping Nigerians are taking note
of
all these small things that are happening. So in 2027, nobody is coming to bamboozle us with any cock and bull story, as we call it, because this doesn't even make sense at all. I don't even know, Obi, I don't know if he has come out to make any official statements to state the camp that he has joined, whether it's the ADC or the Labour Party, but he seems to have a lot of stories that don't even add up. And then in the ADC itself, I think the former candidate that they had, that's Dumebi Kachuku, he alleged that the faction of this party, led by Senate President David Mark, was intentionally, former president, pardon me, was intentionally designed to make Vice President Atiku Abubakar the party's presidential candidate in 2027. And he vowed to challenge the new leaders in court to reclaim the party. So we can see that in all the houses. And there was one comment I saw that really made me laugh. So somebody was trying to, you know, talk about this whole thing and said that everybody is just playing Tinubu's game at the end of the day.
Do you understand?
You are just being agitated for nothing, and all these strategies are happening. It's almost like it is expected, and you're already losing before you start the battle. But of course, I can't give much comment to this, but the way everything is happening, the disorderliness in the house already shows and paints a bigger picture for us. And I'm hoping that Nigerians are taking note of what's happening. So in 2027, we're able to make the right choice, not based on sentiment and biases, but who actually should be on that seat. All right, let me take you through The Guardian. But before I go through The Guardian, there's something, I'm not a sports person, but I heard of this very, let's say, devastating news. I mean, yesterday, I've forgotten the name of this particular player, but he just got married.
Oh, yes, I
saw that news too. And then he
I think the footballer.
Yes, then he died in a car crash accident with his brother, and it was really, really devastating to see. And I think some other stories said that he had like 3 children with the wife he just got married to. So you know all those baby mama stuff, like, oh, let's not kukuma, pardon my English this morning, you know, seal our relationship and be together as husband and wife. And then this sad news happened. I'm remembering this story because I'm linking it to what I saw here, you know, tributes as Eagles legend Rufai dies at 61. You know, some of these legends in different industries that have somehow upheld, you know, the integrity and values of our nation always need to have the recognition that they deserve. Going on through the Guardian newspaper very briefly so that we can head on to our topic for today. We still have stories on this 2027. It says, illusion of harmony. When politicians unite in power pursuits sans governance. Senate begins public hearing on constitution review in Lagos. NMA faults FG's export of doctors, skilled workers to St. Lucia. Wike knocks opposition coalition as desperate power ploy defends Rivers peace moves. 2027, I love Nigeria. Other groups seek INEC registration as parties. APC convenes South-South Summit in Edo. Atiku flays Tinubu over Trump snub of Nigeria. And that's all the news we have for you this morning. I'm sure on Monday we're going to open up more details to this coalition story because everything we have mentioned is just giving fragment, you know, information about this. But there's a bigger, larger context to the political space with this story that needs to really be opened up. And I'm sure on Monday you do not want to miss what we have for you. But today, our conversation is around values, and we want to ask the question of whose responsibility it is to uphold values, the government or the citizens. Of course, we have an insightful guest who will be joining us for our conversation shortly. So we'll take a short break, and when we return, we're diving in. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. In a time when societal values seems to be constantly tested, the question who is responsible for upholding values is more urgent than ever. Is it the government, our families, institutions, or every individual? Today, we're joined by someone who is not only an accomplished chemical engineer and researcher, but also a passionate advocate for youth empowerment and national reorientation. Dr. Oluwadara Omolola leads the National Values Project, a movement aimed at reviving core values among young Nigerians. And with her strong background in science, education, and community development, she brings a unique and grounded perspective on how we as a society can collectively redefine and reclaim our values. Good morning, Dr. Oluwadara.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this conversation is one that should really be echoing the Nigerian space, looking at how will I put this now? We are really facing a whole lot when it comes to basic things like values. And some people feel like, this is a conversation that, don't we already know the answer? But eventually we do not see the practicality of it in our space today. Hence, we're going to keep having conversations like this. So firstly, my question to you would be, what exactly do we mean by values in the Nigerian context today? And how have they evolved or eroded over time?
Okay, thank you very much for that question, because we have to start at the root. And the truth is, for me, values are fundamental beliefs the guiding principles that shape our behaviors, our decisions, and our culture within an organization or in our families or even in the society. So values is something that goes beyond the home. It's in the society, it's in our workplace, in schools as well. So it cuts across board. But most importantly, these are the core fundamental beliefs that shape us as individuals. That's what I would say for values.
So how much of it has eroded over time? Do you think that there have been some evolvement or evolution with it?
Yes, indeed. Because when we talk about values, we are talking about things like integrity, we are talking of discipline, we are talking of diligence. So I will give you an example.
Okay.
There is a major challenge in the academic space now that we have parents that want their children to skip classes and sometimes pay for special centers just to get their children to pass exams, jam, WAEC. So it's really disturbing. Growing up, I knew that there were things you don't dare think about, but it seems like those things we didn't dare has become the norm. Examination malpractice was not celebrated, and I'm not saying it's being celebrated now, but we are beginning to see it as something by the side we should not be. Something that is wrong is wrong. A child is expected to read, sit down, pass their exams. You are testing just one brain. But when we have a community of teachers giving out answers to students, then we see that we have a lot of work to do. It's not just the children now. There's value erosion in parents, teachers, and the society at large. And the example they are seeing sincerely is not encouraging. So it's something that we are really passionate about dealing with from the roots. And that's why we're starting from children.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. So straight in, I want you to tell us who really is responsible, when it comes to upholding values now. Now, just like the way this question I've literally just asked is very simple, and it looks like it's something that we already know. But then going back to what Oluchi has said earlier, it's one thing for us to have an idea on what these things are, but it's another thing for us to practice what we preach. Do you understand? So I want you to tell us, and how exactly do you think we can actually put into practice?
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll start with myself. My dad was in the military for 35 years before he retired. And one of the things he taught us was discipline. And there was one funny thing he always said, but he stuck with us. He said, I don't have anything else to give you except your education. I will will everything I have to the government. So that made us stay on our toes, like, okay, if he's giving everything he has to the government, then what he's offering me, I have to work as hard as I can to make sure that I make the best of it. But just besides that, he was very, very focused on making sure we got quality education. And that has shaped my life across time. Because after having my first degree, going for the other degrees, it was not like it was something that was compulsory, but I had imbibed the values of discipline, diligence, being hardworking, and wanting to do something to better myself. So sincerely, it starts from the parents. It starts from the families. And when I say parents, I'm not only saying those that probably biological fathers and mothers, but everyone that has a responsibility to be around a child. You should uphold values around them. When things happen, they listen to you. When a parent tells a child, go and tell my friend that is knocking that I am not at home, and you are sleeping in the room, you are already eroding the values. You are teaching them to tell lies, and when they start telling lies to you, then probably you start picking up the road. So it starts from the families. Give them the right example. Be role models. Then we can now move on to the community. We used to hear growing up that it takes a community to raise a child. But now, if you touch someone's child, you might end up in the police station. So it's so sad that we don't want communal raising of children, but sincerely, there are things the parents will miss that a neighbor might spot. And I'm not saying you should go around beating people's children, but you can raise it with their parents and say, oh, I noticed this. Probably you can do something to make it better. Then for the government, we have the National Orientation Agency that is doing a lot. They are currently working on a National Values Charter, and it has a section of the government's promise and the citizens' responsibility as well. So they are highlighting tolerance, patriotism, most of the challenges we have. We are shouting corruption. We are talking about things going wrong in our society. is because the values have been eroded. So there's a lot to be done, and that's why we are championing this cause, and we are grateful to be on this platform to also speak about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Molola. You know, based on the questions she mentioned and the answer that you're giving as well, I remember one thing I was taught in school where, you know, they were trying to open up character development and personality development, and there were two schools of thought that they say always contributes to this. That's the rule of nature and nurture. So there's the fact that, you know, some characters are developed just because you've been born, the gene in that particular, you know, family, and then some other times what the environment has on you in that sense. So thank you for helping us see that it's actually the duty and responsibility of everyone involved, which includes the parents, you know, the community, and of course, society at large. And of course, you have mentioned a whole lot about your work. Before we even go in-depthly to what your work does, I want to firstly ask, with your involvement in the National Values Project and your work so far, I want you to tell me how it has revealed what young Nigerians truly value today. What have you observed that you think that are like the major values that young Nigerians value today based on your work so far?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So I probably, because you said values, it's beginning to sound like what they hold dear is quite strange. It's strange because I've noticed that a lot of people want to show off. I'm talking of young ones. Money, fame, then this just, I don't know if I'll call it peer pressure, but wanting to feel among, it has become a serious challenge. And the parents are not helping as well. So normally we'll be thinking that they will hold integrity, discipline, and things like that. I'm not saying every young person is like this. To be fair to you, there are parents that are doing their jobs, and they have children that are doing well in the society. But if you say for the youth, in general observation, money, fame, wanting to belong, they don't want to be left out or looked down on, and this can lead to several vices.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, go to Riti.
Okay, so I like the fact that she said that, you know, it's quite strange. I mean, when she even mentioned that word strange, it was quite funny to me. But then it's not even funny, right? Because if you look at the way things are, it's not something that we have to be proud about. And just like you said, there are some parents that, of course, they have done everything possible to instill the right values into, you know, their children, but they end up, you know, doing something else or having a different kind of different kind of mindset, right? So I want us to talk about the practical steps at which we can even stop this, right? Just like you said, many young people are more concerned about showing off. You know, I mean, I just bought this one today. Everybody is on social media, you know, doing different things. How exactly do we even start changing, you know, what has already gone wrong, right? What are these practical steps that we can start putting in place? Because I believe that, I mean, we have all talked about the bad things and, you know, the things that the young people hold dear instead of, you know, them holding the, you know, honesty and integrity and all of that. What exactly, I mean, where do we start, you know, changing all of this?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And, you know, we will say it starts from the cradle. So it starts from a national reorientation. And just like I mentioned earlier, the National Orientation Agency. So it goes beyond saying, teach your children the right things. Some parents that are parents now, if I'll put it that way, don't even know these values.
To be honest.
Because if you say, Mommy, I need to do something in class, maybe my lecturer is asking me for some money, maybe a bribe or something to pass this exam, and you give the money to that child, thinking that, well, your classmates are doing it, go and give him so that you can pass and he'll let you go. So we see that it's something that is ingrained in our society already. A police person stops you on the road, maybe on a checkpoint, instead of showing your papers, you know it has expired, you quickly pass something to him so that he can let you move on. So there's a lot that has been done fundamentally, but the things we can do is role model. Let's bring out stories, narratives of people that are doing the right thing and are succeeding. Because the challenge seems to be that those that are doing the wrong things are the ones succeeding. and probably spending the money around that they are seeing. So if we can show them that there are people that stand for integrity, for discipline, that they are patriotic, tolerant, they have duty of care, and they are able to stand shoulder to shoulder with these so-called, will I say, successful people in quotes in the society. Let's show them success, that values can lead to success. You don't have to go through vices to be successful. When it's to be successful, a mother or a 419 and Yahoo Plus, so that they too can have maybe a beautiful house in the village, is disturbing. So we need to show them that you don't have to be a Yahoo person, you don't have to be corrupt to be successful. You can be diligent, you can do your work and be successful. The richest man in Nigeria, in Africa, Dangote, we have not heard of vices that he has gotten into. He was diligent, and today is topping nations, leading headlines, because he was ready to do the hard work. So I would say let's put out the right stories. There are challenges in Nigeria, but can we reshape the narrative? Let's tell them these things can work, and they should see practical examples of people that it is working for. Then for parents and everyone, teachers that are around these children, say what you mean and mean what you say. When you give an instruction, make sure you follow through. Make sure you don't bend or cave in along the way. Your words should be your bond. When they see this, they will begin to imbibe it. And we have seen children correct their parents. Oh, mommy, my teacher said we are not supposed to say that. Oh, mommy, go and tell my friend I'm not. Mommy, that is a lie. I was taught in Sunday school that I should not tell lies. So we need to be role models, sincerely. That's the summary of it. For the others, National Orientation Agency is working on it, doing the campaigns. They want to include it in the school curriculum, which is a laudable idea. And so that we're also in talks with them, and we are willing to put in our support in any area we can. So there's a lot to be done, but let's give them positive role models they can follow. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Oluwadara. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we still have a few questions for you before we wrap up the conversation. So please stay with us, and our viewers as well. We'll be right back shortly.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances. Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the energy for everything energy. Every week, we will bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, And that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back, viewers, and of course, welcome back to our guest who has joined us via Zoom for a conversation that is really timely and very important here. We have highlighted a number of things. Firstly, by spreading the fact that values should be upheld by everyone involved, parents. I like how she, went really to the very fundamentals of it and she explained it with examples and stories that we can relate to growing up, and it's been quite amazing so far. But, we've spoken about parents and the children, the young ones themselves, a whole lot. But we have to talk about our leaders as well. And sometimes I would really say that in today's world, having to hold leaders accountable comes with a lot of criticism. And sometimes we feel like, let them just do what they have to do. But at the end of the day, we can't make these people comfortable, in their trespasses, if I would use that word.
Or in their corruption.
So I'd like to ask you, Dr. Oluwadara, even with your initiative, of course, is tailored to young people, to help them develop the right kinds of values and mindset. How do you think that we can hold leaders accountable to the same values that we demand from the average citizen? Do you think this is possible at all? And if you think so, please share with us how. Do I still have Dr. Oluwadara with us?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I just had to make a quick adjustment.
Okay, did you get my question though?
So the way we can hold leaders, you said how can we hold leaders accountable to values, if I got you correctly?
Yes.
That we are demanding of citizens.
Yes.
Okay, so the interesting thing, just like I told you, I said the National Orientation Agency worked on the National Values Charter. So now we have two aspects to values. We have the Nigerian Promise, which is the responsibility of the government.
Right.
Then we have the Citizens Code. So for the government's responsibility, these are the things we expect from them, and there are 7 core values we should look out for. One is equality. We have democracy, entrepreneurship and employment, peace and security, inclusivity, freedom and justice, and meritocracy. So probably we just had a vague idea of, the government should do this and do that. But now it is clearly stated. These are the things we should expect from them. And when they don't deliver on this, then we can begin to ask questions. What I would say is, let's go for dialogue. Everything is not protest or shouting. I'm not saying those do not work in some context, but let's dialogue. Let's have conversations. We can call for town hall meetings. We can speak to our representatives, our lawmakers. If I ask a question now, how many of us know those representing our constituencies? Do you know your councillor? Do you know your chairman? Do you know the honorable of the house, probably representing your senatorial district? We might not, some of us might not be able to answer this question. So how do we get to the government? When we talk to these people, we engage them, then they are able to go back and deliver the message to the government that, this is what the people are clamoring for. So if you promise me that there's going to be employment, why do we have shortage of jobs? We see that most of the challenge we have is so many organizations are closing down due to cost of power. What can the government do better in that regard? Should we call for a stakeholders engagement, those in the power sector? How can we fund you better so that you can make power available to these industries? So we need to go to the core and have these conversations at the grassroots. It's from the grassroots they will take this upwards and we hold them accountable. I might not know your senator, but when the person comes to the village for functions, you know him. Go to him. We want to have conversations with you. The chairman of your ward, your state governor, through the local government chairman, You can have access. We want to have conversation. These are the challenges we are going through. Please help us take it upwards. We need to have that conversation with them. And when we have it with them, they can take it further. So we've said so many things that we expect from the government, but it's through engagement with these people that we can take it further. It's beyond asking them for 1,000 naira when they come to the village. So they share 1,000, 2 kg of rice, and you just accept it. What are the future of the children? What are the values we are talking about? So let's have conversations. Let's not be satisfied with handouts. Let's make people accountable. Ask questions and demand for the right answers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You really have highlighted something that we say a lot on this table, and that's the fact that we cannot fold our hands when we see something going wrong, else we're going to be part of the problem itself. Yeah. And of course, on Monday, I think we had a major conversation here as regards to the July 12 elections. And of course, what we were clamoring about was the fact that many, Lagosians, let me even use that word, let's come home, are not even aware of, the lowest level of governance that they have around them. Do you understand? Everybody's just focusing on the head, the president, the vice president, the senate president, but the ones in your locality and in your environment, nobody pays attention to them. So that is the first step of not even holding those people accountable. And I love how that you've mentioned that we need to start engaging them in conversations and just keep doing it. So there's the feeling where even with frequent engagement, sometimes people get discouraged because they don't see the result that they want instantaneously. But taking a cue to some of the values that we should uphold, I think patience should be part of it. We keep doing it regardless, hoping that eventually, everything turns out pretty well. So thank you very much for highlighting what is really major on our conversations every day. Please, let's have God's Beauty's question.
All right, thank you so much. Beautiful work, Doctor. So I wanted to quickly ask this, right? As a curious person, I just want to ask, so if you are to redesign Nigeria's value system, tell me 3 core values you will prioritize and why?
That's like for me. Giving me a blank check, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the blank check. Right. So the first thing I would advocate for is integrity. There is no other way around it. Say what you mean, do what you say.
I love it.
If we have these basics in our community, we would be safe. Because if I tell you I am going to build skyscrapers for you to live in, then I will get it done. If I tell you I'm going to tar the roads, if you vote for me, then I will tar those roads. So the first one for me is integrity. That is it. There is no shifting ground. The second is fairness. Consider people as fellow human beings. When you want to make decisions, how it's going to affect the next person. Then yes, we know you have family members that have stood with you over the years, but are they the right people for the jobs you are giving them? We should have these questions. Be fair. If you want to see a change yourself, you're a change maker, then you need to put the right people in the right places. So be fair. Make it is open. The third one is discipline. If you are disciplined, there are things you would not do. There are lines you would not cross. So if we can work on integrity, fairness, and discipline as Nigerians, I tell you, the sky is not the start. Is not the limit. It's just the starting point. And I know it's something we can do. We are resilient people. We are strong. We are hardworking. We hold our salt anywhere in the world. So Nigerians we can do it, but we just need to have a mindset shift and a reorientation. If we see the long-term benefits, then the short-term pains will not be a challenge to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Molara. We've come to the end of our conversation with you. Thank you for your insights so far and great work with what you're doing with young people. I like when people go to the grassroots to, introduce these values to young minds, and kudos to what you're doing. Thank you for joining us on our show. And of course, we hope to hear more great work that you're doing in this space. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. But finally, I would like to tell you we are hosting a debate for public secondary schools on the 9th of July at Unila Conference Center, 9 a.m. So you are invited, and any other person that would like to participate, we are opening this up to you. And if you need any further information on probably sponsorship, collaborations, partnership, you can reach out to the Upgrade TV management, and they will lead you on how to go about that. Thank you for having me. We don't take this for granted, and we're raising national values champions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. This has been a very insightful conversation.
I love it.
And I like how, well, yes, we have a comment. Pardon me, I almost missed that. The doctor has gone already, but I'll still read out the comment from Gideon. He says, thank you, Dr. Omolola, for your perspectives on the values that young people should attain. National values is a duty for all. It starts with you and transcends to families, societies, and even government. You know, you asked her that very dicey question. If we're going to redesign the whole value stuff, what are you going to focus on? And she mentioned integrity, fairness and discipline. That phrase, do what you say and say what you mean, I think we should even take it very personal as human beings ourselves. You know, I could go on and just maybe give examples, but I don't want to make it all about myself. But let's even reflect a lot on everything that we have said today. You as a person, before you clamor for the change that you desire, how much of what you have said have you done? Exactly. Do you understand? Sometimes we are different spheres of authority and responsibility. You know, some of us are privileged to lead some people. Some of us are privileged to have some responsibilities. And in that your own space, in your circle, with that little that you have been given, how have you shown integrity? I feel like even if we have a society that has a lot of decay so far, I don't think that is the end of our story. I feel like there are still people upholding this, even though they are little, and sometimes they are many times influenced, you know, to the other side. But if we make noise about this a lot, it will become the norm. Do you understand? And then she mentioned fairness. Fairness is really key. We're in a world where everybody wants to be on the side of who would favor them. And I believe very, very strongly that empathy is one of the major skills Humanity mustn't miss out at all. If you take away that humanness in you, you would not see the reason why you should, you know, defer to a fellow human as such. And then, of course, discipline. We have another comment before I allow God's beauty speak. Emmanuel God says, such an amazing session. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Integrity really resonates with me. Yes, we need this in our society and beyond the borders of Nigeria. So, God, with everything that you've mentioned, what did you take home with you? What are you taking home with you from here?
Do what you say and say what you mean. To be honest, I love that a lot. And just like she has said, you see these two top for me, integrity and discipline. It's something that I think that a lot of people, I mean, for whatever reason you want to even do something, she just gave us the full line, to be honest. I don't think there's any other thing that is even more than that. Because look at it. Wherever you are, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve, whatever goal, you need discipline to get there. You need integrity because you need to be, you need to be able to say the truth. Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then you also have to be, empathetic in that sense. You have to also ensure that whatever that you're even doing is something that will not affect the next person. Do you understand?
You know what?
I love the fact that we are having this conversation because just like you said, you see that phrase, make noise. I love it. Because if you don't keep talking about a particular thing, then you automatically mean that whatever that is happening, you are okay with it.
Yes,
that's what it means.
The negative.
Exactly, you are okay with it. So I like the fact that we have conversations like this. I mean, this like I would always say, this is something that I don't think we talk about too much. We don't make a fuss about it. We don't make noise on it, right? And I like the fact that we are creating this awareness. It's important that people understand and start changing their value system. You know, you wanted to say something.
Yes, I was going to say that young people we are at the forefront of actually changing the next generation, right? So I just thought of something that if parents fail in their responsibility to train someone well, they're not just failing one person, they are failing a generation to come because many times they replicate what you have already instilled in them. So sometimes, I'm not a parent yet, but I always think about how heavy that responsibility is. You can't fail as a parent. You can't fail as somebody who has been privileged to train up a life. Because if you fail at that, you're not just wasting that life, but the generation that can come out of that life. If you see many people that have gone, they've gone the wrong route and everything, it's usually not because they were ordained that way. I don't think anybody was created to be evil. Do you understand? We came with a blank check, so you filled in what you want. So imagine if some of all these criminals that we see, some of all these people that are corrupt, imagine if they just had the right upbringing in that sense, or the right orientation from beginning. A lot of generations to come, would benefit from it. So I'm happy that we've had this conversation. It's a very reflective one. It's one that makes you sober. It's one that makes you even think about yourself, not just pointing fingers, but asking yourself questions. If you as a person even uphold this integrity, this fairness, this discipline, this value that we're talking about. And of course, this is a youth-tailored breakfast show. We're going to always emphasize what the youth need at this point. And at this point, youth and young people out there need to uphold values. Thank you very much for staying with us. Value isn't just a job of leaders or institution. It starts with each of us. And as we've heard today, real change begins when we live the values we expect from others. So let's stop waiting for someone else to fix it. Let us be the example. Till next time, stay curious, stay ready, and of course, follow us on all our social media platforms. We'll see you again on Monday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with another insightful topic. Have a blessed weekend. Bye.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?